Hey, what up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about, does a bachelor degree really have any value whatsoever anymore? And, I'll tell you guys, I have one. I will tell you, my current job, I probably don't need one. Did it help me get my foot in the door? Maybe. But in the future, do we and should we really be pushing people to get a bachelor degree when in reality they can learn a lot of this stuff online? So historically, bachelor degrees, they've had a really strong value proposition. You finish high school, you go to higher education, and you learn a lot of foundational and technical and medical and biology skills that can really help position you strong into the future. But the thing is, nowadays, a lot of the stuff that we're learning, it's becoming outdated very quickly. Um, you know, Historically, you can actually get good grades, maybe get an apprenticeship, and then get a good job and be positioned for the workforce. Nowadays, that's not the case at all. Nowadays, you get good grades, and then you need to do 10 extracurriculars and know somebody to be able to get a job out of college. So nowadays, I think it's one of those things where it really makes sense to assess, hey, what do you actually want to do with your life and your career? Do you want to maybe do something more hands-on, like nursing? Nursing, I think it would make sense to go to school. Or if you want to be a lawyer, maybe that would make sense to go to school, or a doctor. But if you're just trying to be a businessman, or you're just trying to do customer service, or you're just trying to do regular payroll or anything like that, operations, I don't really think you need to go to higher education and university. I think you can actually get by and succeed in life without that. Furthermore, we have a shortage of technicians and electricians and carpenters and all that. Now, those have their own challenges, but I think nowadays a lot of people are saying, hey, it costs so much money. And academia is really woke. I'm going to get brainwashed if I go in there. And youth unemployment is literally at all-time highs. So if I'm going to go to school, I'm going to spend a ton of money, I'm going to get brainwashed, and I'm going to be likely to be unemployed. I'm not going to have any real-world knowledge and skills. So I think that many that have gotten a degree and they went to these awesome universities and they have these really strong backgrounds, I think right now, as we can see, they're facing these difficulties. But right now, as I'm speaking, Gen Z, the younger to medium young cohort, like between 18 and 20, I think it's 18 and 26, unemployment's ranging between 10 and 13%. And so many of these people that got these degrees, they're like, wait a second, was this really worth it? Now I'm in debt, I don't have any career prospects, and I'm just like everyone else. And so I think there's a really high supply of these bachelor degree workers. A lot of people are getting them. And then I think the demand for entry level work is decreasing because AI is here. So you have an increasing supply and a decreasing demand. What does that mean? It means that youth unemployment is much, much higher. So we got to ask ourselves, is what you're learning really, really valuable? And will there be an in-demand market for that when you graduate? And if the answer is no, maybe you need to think twice about getting that bachelor degree. So I'm just kind of looking high level at some of these entry-level jobs with AI, but a lot of them right now, and I've seen this at different conferences I've been to, but there's AI tools that can automate code writing, bugging, and testing, and a lot of the entry-level jobs out there, they do this work. And if you think about it, you're going to school learning coding, and then the ladder is getting pulled up above you. You can't actually get the first step of the ladder because AI is doing all that work. So how do you get to that senior level developer without the experience? So I think there's a lot of people that are kind of frustrated, and that makes sense. But like those jobs are impacted, and a lot of customer service jobs. Even my landlord, I was giving him a call the other day, and it was a really good AI. Like they were able to field pretty much any question I had. And so previously, that would probably be 2 to 3 people had that job. And now It's just one AI that was coded, and it actually got 95% of my inquiries correct. Lastly, it's the data entry. Data entry, administrative jobs, helping with meeting summaries, anything like that, those are gone now. Those will be impacted. AP, AR, accounts receivable, all that stuff will be automated in the future. So very interesting to see how that is trending. So what we need to do to ourselves is we need to ask, okay, so we know that AI will take more jobs in the future. What else can we do to position ourselves? Well, we got to lean into the technology. We got to learn that technology. And another thing we got to talk about is the offshoring. Now, this was over about 10 years ago when I was at BP. We did a huge offshoring thing where we went to the refineries and we took the work in, we standardized it, and we sent it off to Manila, Hungary, you name it. And so you got to ask yourself, can your job be done easily by someone overseas? So that was one thing that I learned is, yeah, likely our jobs can be done by someone overseas. So we need to position ourselves to make it so it's not an offshore job. Like, it's something that requires a lot of brain power, intelligence, working with people, leaders, presenting, creativity, not something that can just be put in a standard operating procedure and offshored to another country. So it was a lesson I learned early on, 10 years ago, that, hey, you got to be competitive because you got to learn what you learn needs to be important, because if not, it can likely go the way of the dinosaur. So I think we all really need to ask ourselves, is your payroll, can it be done overseas? Is your procurement, can it be done overseas? Finance, accounting, etc. If it can be done overseas, think twice about going down that avenue, because if you go down that avenue, you could be at risk when leadership changes and they want to save costs. I think historically, we are in a position now where many companies want to save on that payroll expense standpoint. And, especially with the macro headwinds and the interesting situation in the labor market, we need to ask ourselves, is this an environment where I will be insulated? Companies, I understand. Right now, they got to care about these optics, guys, because customers do not want to support companies that side with AI over humans. For example, I won't support a few companies because they actively go against humans. So like Amazon, for example, I really try to drive away my purchases from them where I can, because I think what they're doing is they value AI more than humans, and I just think that's not a cool thing to do. And so I think if you get rid of all the jobs that humans do and it's just AI in the future, then who's going to have the money to be able to buy your products, right? You're actually kind of like, almost like you only have to go downhill from there. So, I also think it's important to care about the future generation and to invest in them, because at the end of the day, you need to mentor that future generation to take lead in your company. If you're just constantly focused on layoffs and making it difficult for the younger generation, who's going to be the leader in 20, 30 years of your company? Well, they created their own company to disrupt what you have. That's something to think about. People don't forget. I think wealth inequality, unfortunately, will exacerbate more with all these things happening. I think people are going to vote for these socialist policies like we see with Mamdani in New York and other places around the country. I do think it's unfortunate. I think it's just late stage capitalism is what's caused this. I'm a huge capitalist. I still am. I'm a free market libertarian. But I see why people are voting for these negative leaders, because they don't see any hope with the capitalist system, which has failed them pretty much, right? So if something fails you, you're going to vote for something else. And whether that's the right path or not, people are going to do it. So companies, they want to see people now that are well-versed and experienced in AI. And I think so much now it's important that we lean into AI and we really learn how to use it to the best of our abilities. Because at the end of the day, we can be replaced by certain things that AI can do. But I don't think I've seen the AI guys. I use it in my job all the time. I'll tell you, it's like a 5 out of 10. It's pretty dumb. It can't read every page of a document. It gets things wrong all the time. It really is it's overhyped, to be honest with you guys. I think it is. I'm not saying it will be like that forever, but right now, from what I see using it as an end user, it is not like gonna. I mean, if it takes my job, that'd be kind of embarrassing because it really doesn't do a great job. But these companies, they still want to see that you're leaning into it, you're well versed with it, you're trying to learn about it, you're gaining experience from it, and we need to lean into this. We need to be AI literate, and we need to be open to exploring how to make it better. And they say this, guys. They say that AI will not take your job. Rather, someone that does lean into AI will take your job, will take your business, because they're able to optimize and use it to their advantage, whereas oftentimes you'll see individuals that they say, oh, I don't want to use that, I don't want to use that, and they're less efficient, right? So to kind of take it back, does a bachelor's degree really have value anymore? From my view, I think it does, it does in certain pointed areas. The occupational therapy, if you're going to be doing, a specific type of law, a specific type of medicine, a specific type of whatever it may be. It needs to be specialized. Engineering, mathematics, I don't know. But if you're just trying to do philosophy or general business, it's like, hey, you could probably learn general business better by working at a fast food restaurant or working at an apprenticeship, right? Unfortunately, our society is constructed where you can't get your foot in the door unless you have a bachelor's degree. And I don't think that's the right system either. I think people that can't get high up in the world because they don't have a degree, that's absolutely ridiculous. That just means that people are just trying to throw money into a system that I don't know if it should exist like that. But in the end, I think a bachelor's degree matters if it's pointed, and if you're just kind of shotgunning it and you're just like, I'm just trying to go, I want to learn, history or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be that marketable in the job market, and especially in a tough economy like this. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, share the podcast. You guys are the best, and I'll see you later.